Hello, I wanted to pick up off the last video and expand a little further into the idea of woke lighting in reference to gaslighting, obviously, and just kind of expand it from where I was coming from in the last video, because the last video was just using Prince E as an example, a personification of what woke lighting really is. But for this video, I wanted to expand upon the various styles of woke lighting that's out there, and kind of use the jump off point of this last movie that I just watched just now as an example of various layers of wokeness. We can see politics as an alchemy that makes you believe that Democrats and Republicans are fighting for democracy and capitalism for you, like it's for you. But we all know that the system is designed to, well, not we all know, but the majority of people who are going to watch this video know that the system is only designed to protect itself. If I were to ask you, even very young people would know this. If I were to ask a very young person, just a flat out, just to trust their gut when they answer this question, is the system that we understand as capitalism, democracy, military industrial complex, the prison industrial complex, all of these, the Western civilization systems, colonialism, is a system, all that, is it for you, the person? Is it for the individual, the betterment of the individual? Or is it to protect itself, to maintain the system of haves and have-nots? I really feel like the majority of people will understand that this system has no regard for humanity. This system has no intention on changing itself to where, so much so that it removes the power, the illusory power from the so-called powers that be. It's designed, it was built this way. It was built on genocide and massacre. It was built on illusions. It was built on pirating everything from the soil, the land beneath your feet, up to the psychology of your grandchildren, future generations, locking down and manipulating the past, the present, and the future from every angle. The education system, your food, your water, your politics, your so-called democracy, your so-called technology, your space programs, all of this is manipulated to maintain. Even the weather is being messed with. There's weather modification programs out there. That doesn't mean that these are almighty gods who can create weather. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there are very definite systems that can manipulate and change weather patterns or add to weather patterns to create like a destructive mechanism. I don't know the details of all that stuff, but it makes sense to me from the information that I've researched and seen overall. And something like global warming and climate change is just another big mechanism to maintain that belief in this system that it's for you, and that you should trust in your slave owners, basically, to protect you. It's a co-opting. It's like a modern or a mainstream Stockholm syndrome. So all of these movies, all of your superheroes, all of the stuff that gets vomited out of Donald Trump's mouth and Alex Jones and TYT and Fox, MSNBC, CNN, even RT, and all these other news, so they're all one story. It's all one mechanism. And you can research on that. Oh, many people already know this. I'm just kind of like setting up the platform for people to really understand that it doesn't matter what mechanism you subscribe to make yourself comfortable every day. We have to realize that this system is very much in control of the mainstream mechanisms that are out there, and they have an intent that is not at all benevolent. All of these systems that are out there in your face, promoted through the censorship and the filtering of social media, promoted through the censorship and the filtering of YouTube. It's no different than Democrats and Republicans and everything that comes out of their so-called legislature. All of this stuff is designed to either manipulate your past, your perspectives of your past, your perspectives of your present moment and engagement in the present moment, and your idea or engagement in the so-called future. And all of this affects us on a soul, a mind, and a body level. So when I throw out a term like woke lighting in reference to gaslighting, it's to really show or expand upon the alchemy that is running rampant through the mainstream system, your university system, television, radio, everything. It's designed to control your future. So a lot of the mechanisms that I was talking about in relation to like white supremacy, racism, destroying the history books, creating NASA to make you, or the evolution system, heliocentrism as a whole, all of this stuff is designed to manipulate, not only manipulate your future and your present moment, but largely to manipulate your history, your foundation, where you think you come from. So you trace all of their stories back to the Big Bang. You come to emptiness, you come to nothingness, you come to a lack of meaning, a lack of purpose, and you come to a space that has no real connection with any kind of soul. It has nothing that you can grab onto with your soul body. It has everything to do with manipulating your thought process, your energy, to rely on systems that are based upon materialism, that are based upon the physical reality. And since these individuals like Bill Nye, Neil deGrasse Tyson, your astrophysicists, your quantum physicists, all set up this atmosphere that they are the smartest monkeys in the universe, they are the most intelligent people in the universe, they basically become your gods because you worship intelligence. And since intelligence is only filtered through the university system, because wisdom is not cherished anymore. This is why, and proof of that is the accepting of the way the system is designed to just put your grandparents in like nursing homes. Like this is that whole mentality that's accepted today, when in indigenous cultures, the elders held that wisdom, and they were the ones who passed that wisdom on to the grandchildren. So there's that relationship there that has been there, that has been completely erased from our society by Western civilization to maintain a level of control that separates us from our interpretations of the past, interpretations of or relationships within the present moment, and how we naturally, organically evolve into the future. So we're caught in this soup that is basically poison, and this soup is poisoning. It's like a slow boil, like they say when they're boiling a frog. It's a slow boil. So your food, your water is slowly boiling you. Your education is slowly boiling you. Your relationships are slowly boiling you. Your mainstream media, your news, your so-called superheroes and so forth. This is all a slow boil to eventually cook you up into a mind control program of enslavement. And the movie that I just watched recently, and like I said, I just watched these movies to see what they are trying to program people with, like how they're manipulating. I mean, obviously, when you know that Disney movies are to program children, then what do you think that these horror movies are doing, and these action movies, and these thriller movies, and all these other movies that are out there, superhero movies? What do you think they're doing there? It's the same mechanism. It's the same kind of magic that's out there. So once I realized that, and I was basically raised on movies, like we had movies all over the place, and a lot of people in my generation And even now, I mean, it's probably even worse now because everything is digital. But basically, movies and the television was like the babysitter. So that's the intent. That's the design. It's nothing that, the people are, and some people know about this, like from the beginning, and they keep their children away from it. But the majority of people just kind of just accept it. It's just like, they like it. They like cartoons. They like this and that. So it's just, we don't really go into the depths of understanding what it really is. This is a magic. So once I started to realize that, then I started to say, well, since my job is to interpret this information, I need to see what's going on here on a adult level. Like, what are they trying to manipulate us to think about how we're supposed to see our reality, and so on and so forth. So most people know about this, but I'll do like a quick rundown of the Kingsmen to give you an example and a segue into the idea of Wokelighting and wokeness, and this whole idea of woke and this woke culture that's out there. Before that, going into the interpretation of what gaslighting is. So gaslighting, in reference to locking you into a fear program. Like, when I say, for people who haven't seen the Wokelighting video yet, I'll link it in the description. Gaslighting is something that really locks you down with sort of lower vibrations, to be as general as possible. So this image that you're looking at right now, where it shows you're constantly questioning yourself, you're too sensitive, confused, can't make decisions, always apologizing for the system. You're wrong. Basically, you have no power. That's what gaslighting is. It takes your power away with the alchemy of psychological warfare. So this is basically what has been happening with the news, the mainstream media, adjusting your history books, making you think that you should go to war, convincing you to send your kids to war, convincing you to have this patriotism in a genocidal and maniacal system that has no regard for human nature or nature as a whole. We've basically been gaslit for centuries upon centuries. So we've had decades of gaslighting with technology, in a sense that you believe that technology is a reflection of human evolution because of all the other systems beyond that. And what that's setting the platform for is this idea of being woke. So this is what I'm saying, what Jim Carrey is setting the stage for when he starts talking about these new age concepts, no different than what Oprah Winfrey is doing and Prince E is doing when he jumps on board of the Jim Carrey train and just runs with it and says, this guy is woke. See, it's easy to just call yourself woke, and then everybody just gets on the woke team. Because why? Everybody who's just consuming themselves with materialism and all that other stuff, these prepositioned assholes out there that are like Kim Kardashian and all these pretty much sleep people, these people who are just so dense and so empty inside that they really have no soul. Their soul is basically dormant because everything that they think they are and that people worship them as is based upon the way they look, their bank accounts, their cars, their shoes, their Gucci this, their Prada that, their record deals, their subscriber base, their followers on Instagram, their followers on Twitter, whether or not somebody else validates them, and so on and so forth. This goes for any kind of system that is out there, this including the flat earth. And I'll get in there at probably towards the end of this video, depending on how the flow goes. But I just wanted to set the platform for gaslighting, obviously, and just reiterate how, if you're looking at this image right now, Wokelighting is basically, instead of you constantly questioning yourself in reference to woke lighting, you constantly have all the answers. So you're not questioning yourself ever. You cannot question yourself because you have some kind of new age prescription drug that says, oh, well, that's their problem. That's karmic timing. Oh, well, just, this is part of my journey, and maybe it's the Pleiadians, and let me just listen to this channel. Whatever it is, something in that system is designed to give you the answers. So you're no longer questioning yourself. You're giving yourself artificial answers, synthetic answers that have been prepackaged by the new age. And then wondering if you're too sensitive. Some people in Wokelighting say, "Oh, well, I am too sensitive," but that's because I'm an empath and I'm so sensitive. I'm just an empath. So everything in gaslighting is basically negative, and everything in Wokelighting is basically positive. So everything that you're seeing in here is on gaslighting. Just flip it, and then you can see, well, Wokelighting is being projected into our reality. So when Jim Carrey says we're just a cluster of tetrahedron and nothing really matters because we don't really exist, that's the most watered down, simple ass version of interpreting this very complex system that we exist in and as, that if you just package it that way and leave it like that, you're definitely going to realize that that's very much a controlled opposition and designed to have a particular effect on people, which the effect is people jumping on his train and saying, he's woke. Oh, I'm so happy that this woke individual, because it's easy. You just say, oh yeah, that's cool. I've been woke for so long. I've been knowing about conspiracy theories. So you have people like Alex Jones. He's woke to some people. People that, are promoters of Bernie Sanders. Oh, they're woke. Those, they don't care about Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. But if you have a Bernie Sanders sticker or a Bernie Sanders pin on your lapel, you're woke. So it really is about creating layers of consciousness that people get comfortable within. That's what this whole idea of Wokelighting is, no different than being asleep. So you have layers of sleep when you are being gaslit. And now the shifting of the polarization, the polar shift that I'm seeing that's happening on a collective scale, because this happens individual. The individual journey is just reflective of the collective and vice versa. It's the same thing. So this is how I've come across this information, by just realizing my own journey, just looking back and seeing how things progressed from my own experience, because I've been through, looking at politics and yelling at the bankers in the Occupy movement and thinking I know it all because I have these new age perspectives and this very woke information from channelers back in the day, like that whole thing. Like I've felt what that feels like. And then now going into flat earth, and then you have flat earthers calling themselves woke because they now have information in reference to the biggest lie, or one of the, if not the biggest lie of our human experience. And it's just going to get deeper and deeper and deeper, because it's not only about flat earth or the not globe earth. It's the real, my interpretation of what this lie is trying to hide is what the human experience actually is, what's really going on here. And this system knows this, which is why they're trying to manipulate how you perceive this reality. So that's why flat earth ultimately doesn't matter, because they're coming from the perspective of the human story already.
Well, maybe we're in a simulation right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
You look at our computing power today, and you say, I have the power to program a world inside of a computer. Well, imagine in the future where you have even more power than that, and you can create characters that have, for example, free will. and I program in the laws that govern that world. Now you're a character in that world and you think you have free will, and you say, I want to invent a computer. So you do. Hey, I want to create a world in my computer. So now you lay out all these universes and throw a dart. Which of these universes are you most likely to hit? The original one that started it, or the countless simulations, the daughter simulations that unfolded thereafter?
Which is why it's very suspect that a lot of so-called bigger channels in the flat earth so-called community are adamantly avoiding the human story, the how and the why of heliocentrism, and only focusing on the what. When you look at the mainstream system, the university system, which is very much focusing on the how and the why, the synthetic how and the why of this experience, with simulation theory and transhumanism and all this other stuff. And a lot of these so-called flat earthers are very intelligent and know about this so-called conspiracy information. So it's not like they are unaware of what the counterattack to flat earth might be. Largely, I think just a lot of people just don't want to do the work, and they just get comfortable with something like flat earth. And it's easy. It's easy to be comfortable with something like flat earth and not challenge yourself to go any further, because you are outside of the status quo. There's a majority of people who are just considering themselves woke because they're still like trapped in the political game or trapped in the so-called conspiracy theory game, but they're not really going any further into challenging their reality outside of that. So this is why I said it's very important to continue expanding your perspectives. Otherwise, you might just be setting yourself up for another mind control program, because that's what this system is really based upon, locking you in to multiple layers of mind control programming that ultimately results in your enslavement, your self-enslavement, the enslavement of your children, the enslavement of your psyche, the enslavement of your interpretations of this entire reality. So you can go through even further with seeing what Wokelighting is in reference to, like, you think you're doing everything wrong, where in Wokelighting you think you're doing everything right. Everything is on purpose. You just don't question everything. It's just from one polarized system to another. And then you think you're not good enough when you're being gaslit, but when you're being woke-lit, everything is perfect. Everything is perfect. Nothing's wrong. Everybody is perfect. Everything is fine. The system is going exactly the way it's supposed to be. All of the genocide and the massacre, the slaughtering, the destroying of nature, everything is just perfect. Don't do anything. Everything is just fine. That's the extreme layer of control. It's no different than being so fearful that you just don't do anything. Same thing happens when you're being woke lit. You just don't do anything because your head is up in the clouds and you're completely uprooted from your power grid, the majority of your power grid. So like you always feel like you make bad choices. Well, everything when you're being woke lit or so-called new age, every choice that you make is amazing. You're just, everything is perfect. It was all synchronicity. It was so perfect. So like the Amazon people who are just killed by the lumber teams that went through there and just slaughtered them. The people who weren't even at all engaging in this system, who were killed by these people who went into their land in order to destroy and make a profit off of their land. Was that just synchronicity? Or are you just going to chop that up to synchronicity? Or maybe you'll just chop it up to karma. Oh, that was in their karmic timeline. Stay the fuck out of my face if you're going to be talking that bullshit. It's not that simple. You're just using another prescription drug to avoid your responsibility and your connection, your relationship to your brothers and sisters who are suffering as a result of this alchemy that this system is putting out there. They want you to be complacent. They want you to be spiritually apathetic. So you just don't do anything. So you think you deserve to be alone? Then you find, oh, we're woke. I'm just spiritually. This is all. Everything is on purpose. It's all okay. You're unhappy for no reason. Well, when you're being wokelit, you're happy all the time. You make yourself happy. If you're not happy, you go do yoga, or you go, drink a smoothie, or you go for a walk, or you do this. And like I said, like in previous videos, this is not to down talk crystals, yoga, meditation, eating healthy, or anything like that. Obviously, that's a part of balancing out and healing your body and bringing yourself into a balance within this experience. What I'm saying is, when I reference this stuff, is to bring to the surface how these programs are being manipulated. It's kind of just like synthesized, like genetically modified soul food. Soul food in itself, there's nothing wrong with it. But when you genetically, not the soul food that is like chitlins and, ham hocks and shit like that. I'm talking about food for your soul. Organic soul food, there's nothing wrong with soul food, like crystals, you're connecting with nature, walking and stuff like that. But genetically modified soul food is definitely designed to destroy you from the inside out. And that's what I'm saying is going on with these systems. So people who are, hearing this stuff for the first time on this channel or whatever, I'm not saying that this stuff is wrong. What I'm saying is that the way the system utilizes this is very definitely on purpose. And they not only use systems and programs, like television programming, they use people. That's why I referenced Prince E in the last video as a personification of Wokelighting. He's turned it into an art. No different than Leonardo DiCaprio going to the United Nations and being presented as, or empowered as, the messenger of peace to travel around the world talking about global warming. Never going into weather modification and the so-called powers that be, just trying to fix this system. So the last two, like, you create excuses for them in the sense where and on the other side of that, you're creating excuses for your reality. That's the same thing actually as gaslighting. You're creating excuses for whatever it is. Instead of for a downside, you're actually creating excuses for the upside. It's the same kind of effect. And then in reference to a lost confidence, that the opposite side of that is you have this fake ass confidence where you have these people that are just floating around wearing all this spiritual clothing and a million crystals and say, oh yeah, well, everything is just gonna be okay. You just need to balance your chakras. You just need to activate your third eye. You probably have a lot of calcium deposits on your pineal gland. So all you have to do is get a Reiki session with my friend for $500 a session, and you will be able to clear all of that out and everything will be okay. So these are these overly synthetic confidence people that are out there. It's a new age confidence, a woke confidence that's out there, which has nothing to do with your, for lack of a better term, like soul confidence, you walking as your soul, you being who and what you are in every moment without question. I mean, ultimately, if you want to get like really philosophical with it, everybody is who they are in every moment. But you see what I mean when I reference terms like this and expand upon these perspectives and how it's being manipulated. So it's kind of difficult to go back and forth between the individual, the effect of the individual that this stuff has on the individual, and the effect that this stuff has on the collective. And then you have the positive stuff that's out there, and then you have the manipulated stuff that's out there, and all of these things are, it's I don't know. You see what I'm talking about. For people who've been listening to these videos for some time now, it's difficult to bounce back and forth for people that are brand new, and this is kind of like where I bounce around a lot, but I'm not gonna, you guys know what I'm talking about. So real quickly, I just wanted to go through like the Kingsman movie. excuse me, and really just explain like these kind of layers of wokeness. So like I said, you have the woke layer of politics. Bernie Sanders, a good example. Then you have people who fit into the TYT layer of wokeness, and they call themselves progressive or aggressive progressive. That's another example of it. You know, Democrats is just like another version of woke in reference to Republicans. Like, oh, you voted for Trump? You're asleep. Something's wrong with you. Like this is that Hegelian dialectic. And that's what it really boils down to. This sleep and woke shit that's out there is just another version of a Hegelian dialectic that's being manipulated to control the masses. From the inner, and now it's going into the inner space where people are starting to question the entire reality, which is what, like I said earlier, why it's so suspect that a lot of these people that are talking about flat earth are just already celebrating, already throwing a big ass party about discovering flat earth and, you know, discovering the what of flat earth and keeping it simple. That's what I hear when I hear keep it flat. I hear keep it simple. Just keep it very simple. Keep it very basic. Well, these assholes who have created the heliocentric model, who are mind controlling the masses of people, are obviously not stupid. They are not simple. They are not basic. And if you think that bringing to the table flat earth from a perspective of only what is going to do anything for the intelligence that has created this mind control program that has enslaved masses of people, you are severely mistaken. And to go even further than that, you are no different than these assholes like Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye, who are just telling you to just shut your mouth and just trust that we know everything about the universe. What makes you any different than Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson when they say, oh, these flat earthers are just so silly. We obviously know everything about the globe and science, so just shut up. What's the difference between them and a flat earth channel saying, oh, well, don't talk about any of this other stuff. That's just divisive. It's really just about making flat earth go mainstream. Everything will be okay when it goes mainstream. Let's just talk about this stuff and then create a self-defense mechanism out there that says, oh, I'm the victim here. I'm being picked on by not only globalists, but even people in the flat earth community are attacking me. It's insane. This is insane. It's so, oh, woe is me. How dare these people? They're supposed to be woke who know about this flat earth information, and they're attacking us. How dare they? This is disgusting. But it's just constant. I mean, it's obvious as shit to me. If any of these assholes were to come to East Oakland or West Oakland and come talk that bullshit out there, every single perspective they bring to the surface that they pride themselves in. I could talk to Neil deGrasse Tyson. I can talk to Bill Nye and such and such and such and such. Bring that shit out to the streets, and all of those perspectives will be instantaneously broken down and just kicked to the curb, because large majority of them would automatically, they wouldn't defend that system. You come talking that shit in Oakland and you start talking about, oh yeah, well, the earth is flat. A large majority of them will just sit there and be like, man, that makes a lot of sense. And they will instantaneously go into the point of, these motherfuckers been lying. What the fuck is going on? I can't believe this shit. How long has this been going on? 500 something. How much money do these motherfuckers get? $19 trillion or $19 billion? God damn, we paying taxes every fucking day. That's $50 million fucking dollars a day. Holy shit, these motherfuckers been lying their asses off. What? So that means the Big Bang, gravity, the planets, all this shit? Oh, hell no. What? Oh, so they created this entire fucking empire. They created an entire empire around heliocentrism. And then they created the university system to make this. These motherfuckers have been lying forever. Man, These are some smart assholes, man. They've got some real. In fact, they would give them the respect at the same time, because that ain't nothing but a hustle. No different than what people gotta do on the streets when they don't have anything. But these entitled assholes who are sitting out here making flat earth videos, just convincing you that it's only about the what, are just no different than these woke lighting assholes like Prince E that are out there telling you just to focus on love. It's all about love. They're trying to simplify your perspectives. The majority of people are being left out, and they won't listen to your simple ass, not seasoned ass fucking perspectives, because it's dry, it's dead, it's empty, it's apathetic, and it has no connection to what's happening to people, because you've been fucking entitled your entire life, and you have no way of understanding what the people who have gone through this shit, you have no way of interpreting that information to them. So instead of finding a way to interpret that information, instead of opening up to people like me who are actually talking about the human story, you turn yourself into a fucking victim. That's bullshit. Oh, they're attacking us because we're just doing good work. Sit your simple ass down and shut the fuck up for one moment about curvature and all that other bullshit. The effect that heliocentrism has had on the psychology of humanity overwhelmingly trumps the science of flat earth. 10, 100, 1,000-fold, because you're going in to the enslavement of the people. And yes, it is very fucking suspect when you constantly, instead of challenging yourself to going into questioning this reality on a deeper layer of how and why this stuff exists, avoiding it by turning yourself into a victim. So that's just another example of these defense mechanisms and these individuals who claim to be woke. So I spoke on the New Age versions of wokeness. I spoke on the political versions of wokeness. And I guess I went into explaining, the flat earth version of wokeness just now. But I got sidetracked because I wanted to, I just wanted to go into the Kingsman stuff. Because this is just another layer of wokeness. And you can't really consider this woke. But this is, subconsciously people consider themselves to be woke when they can understand. They know something. They know like that transhumanism is out there. They know about CERN. They know about the possibility that the government is manipulating these drugs. They're already putting shit in the drugs, messing with this weed, possibly genetically modifying this cannabis. And this stuff is seeded into stuff like movies and social media and stuff like Kingsman, or was that other movie like The Circle that was out there with I think it was Tom Hanks. No, that was the other movie. That was the virus movie. I think The Circle was the social media one. I can't remember who was in that movie, but it was basically about like how they're trying to, it's basically if Facebook went full throttle and then everybody was just on Facebook, if Facebook ruled the world, and Elon Musk was the financial advisor or the creator, teamed up. It was like SpaceX and Facebook teamed up and then controlled the world. That's basically what that movie was about. And then everything was just electronic and social media. Everybody was connected and had a camera and everybody just welcomed it. So people say, well, I don't want that kind of world. And then they pride themselves in, you know, that's another layer of being woke. It's like, oh, I don't want that world, because the people who do want that world, they're obviously asleep. So Kingsman is no different than any other of these Hollywood movies that are out there. Meanwhile, you're being obviously subconsciously programmed. So just guess who dies, obviously, in the first part of that movie. Who's the first person who dies? The friend of the Kingsman dude in there is obviously a black guy. This is a psychological programming. You then have the obviously programming of these British representatives and the secret servicemen, Americans, which are, they're being put out there as superheroes. Marvel does, I'm pretty sure, I'm about positive that Marvel does the Kingsman stuff. So you can hear, they definitely do the Kingsman stuff. When you listen to the music, it's all that Avengers type music. Anytime they're like fighting in there, here's a British man coming to save the day with an umbrella and a flashy fancy suit. Ooh, and now we have the American Kingsmen. That's what this shit is all about. And they're all about cowboys and, you know, whiskey and shit like that. So this is that whole savior mentality, and programming you to believe in this system even deeper. So obviously a lot of the adults, they know they're not going to fall for this stuff. But like I said, this stuff is about programming your children. So your children are going to look up to like technology and transhumanism. They're being programmed with this stuff. And even a lot of the adults that are out there, when they see this guy's bionic arm, and then they have he loses that arm, and then they have like Armageddon, a bigger arm and a more destructive arm. And then they also have the triggering of transhumanism with nanotechnology. So they call them nanobites or something in there, where basically bring people back to life after they've been shot. And they have these nanobites that can heal your entire body, you know, without you having to do anything. So that's just another version of accepting technology into your body, transhumanism programming. This is all setting the platform, like I said earlier, about simulation theory. I kind of got off on a tangent with that, but that was in reference to like the basic ass perspectives that a lot of these bigger flat earth channels, hoping that it's going to go mainstream, come from. It's obvious that this system is trying to create another version of your universe, and it's based upon simulation theory and technology and transhumanism and the quantum version or perspective of reality. So they're setting the platform up, and people in the so-called flat earth community know about this, but they're so basic, so simple, and so happy celebrating that we've discovered flat earth. It's wonderful. You're going to lose a lot of that pride once you start going into the deeper layers of this story, because you're going to realize that it ain't got shit to do with any individual. And it's nothing new. It's just another version of this stuff. But if you keep it flat, if you keep it simple, then you can actually make superheroes out of yourselves. No different than these assholes putting these Kingsmen on television with Marvel music. When you make all of these shows about, yeah, we discovered flat earth this, flat earth that, and you keep it on a what level? You can giving people trophies, the Flatty Awards and all that other shit. That's no different than the same mechanism that Hollywood uses with these movies. It turns it into something very simple, something you can sell, you can package it, you can label it. And that's like pretty much the infrastructure of both gaslighting and Wokelighting. So in many perspectives, who are in the flat earth community, you're being woke lit by a lot of these flat earth channels who are talking about it's only about flat earth going mainstream, then everything else will just be okay. We just need to just focus on that. And then, no, you're gift wrapping it for the system who is already setting up their next version. They can easily, like I said in previous videos, they can easily take your little simple ass flat earth clues and proofs and all that other bullshit and slap some technology, slap some quantum perspectives, slap some simulation perspectives on your flat, motionless plane of existence, and just say, this is what it actually is. And boom. Now you got exactly what you asked for. It went mainstream, and then they just turned it into whatever the hell they wanted to. And good thing, you're just gonna, what are you gonna celebrate now? What are you gonna do now? Because that's what they're already lining up to do. Just gonna pride yourself in that, saying, then victimize, oh, we can only do so much. We can only say so much. We didn't know they were going to do this. We're the victims here. We're all victims of this. Okay, keep playing that game. Keep playing dumb. Keep playing stupid. Knowing that all these other programs are out there. And it ain't all about the technology and transhumanism and simulation theory. If you were to come from the perspective of the human storyline, you'll realize that this is not new. And they can easily manipulate any of this information to sell in another agenda. So I don't want to forget anything in the Kingsman stuff. Oh, cannibalism was in this one. And then they were talking about, they even made it into a burger. So the whole Soylent Green thing. So they actually ground up this human dude and turned him into a burger and fed him to a guy. Guy ate the burger. So this is whole Soylent Green stuff. And then you have people who are going to see both sides of that. And the other side is people who believe that Hollywood is benevolent. They're just going to be like, oh, they're actually talking about fast food and human meat being in fast food and fast food being so bad for you. So they're talking about the bad guys and how they're cannibals and the dark cabal and the Illuminati. So people in Hollywood are actually woke. They're trying to help us. They get involved in politics and so on and so forth. And meanwhile, you can never confirm any of this information. You never know about any of this stuff. You just go along with it because all your friends are talking about it, or you just keep it secret and you're just like, oh well, I'm secretly woke, I won't talk about this information. So yeah, they're making superheroes out of Western civilization, the British Empire and the patriots of the United States of America. They're now superheroes, secretly protecting the people from people who want to poison your drugs and poison the world, the really bad people. It's not them, obviously. It's not the British Empire. It's not the United States Empire. They're the secret superheroes. It's actually deep underground people who are really, they're trying to, yeah. So that's one layer of wokeness. That's like way far. That's probably like the beginning stages of wokeness. And like I said, I just use this term because I don't like using this term. I don't use this term at all. I fucking hate that term. But I use it to help people understand how it's being used against us and how it's being used to put a particular atmosphere out there for people to jump in, another box to jump in. So that's one layer of wokeness that people will fall into and just start loving. Another layer is stuff like ancient aliens. You have people who've read some of Zecharia Sitchin's stuff, heard about or researched any of the Nibiru, Planet X, ancient Sumerians, Anunnaki. They're going to fall into, because that's basically the platform of Ancient Aliens. But Ancient Aliens is actually more complex than that too, because that locks in perspectives of the secret space program, the extraterrestrial alien agenda, the New Age. When you have David Wilcock's tied in. He's on Ancient Aliens. He's tied in with the New Age community. He's tied in with Corey Good. Corey Good's tied in with the secret space program and this whole cabal takedown and this whole thing. Then you have all the people who are believing that in the alien agenda from television and TV shows on like Destination America that makes people believe in that stuff. That's heavily locked into the New Age community with people like Teal Swan and Ralph Smart, who just give like a younger sort of interpretation of New Age perspectives, and another version of apathy and wokeness. And they say, well, they don't seem to let the things that are happening to people across the world, they don't seem to let them affect them, and they seem wonderful. I would love to be as balanced and as stable and as grounded as Teal Swan and Ralph Smart and Prince E. They're wonderful. I want to be like them. So that's why they're out there. So you can try to be like them, and in being like them, you fall into whatever it is that they're talking about. And more importantly, what I'm saying is what they're not talking about, which are the perspectives that actually challenge this entire system. So this is why you have people like Oprah who are instigating this New Age perspective, sucking up people like the Dalai Lama, who is also pretty much suspect, realizing when you go into that other CIA operation where he was apparently being paid after starting to work for the CIA after everything went down in Tibet. Then you have Oprah hooking up with Eckhart Tolle and pushing his book about awakening and what was that? Pretty much just talking about the now moment and like the secret. People who watch the documentary, The Secret Perspectives, it's all like, you're woke if you know about the law of attraction, the secret law of attraction. You're woke if you talk about synchronicity. You're woke if you talk about Black Lives Matter. Like, you can see how watered down and just spread out this shit is. Once you water it down and spread it out so much, it kills everything. Everything just dies, which is exactly what the system wants. They want everybody to be saying that they are woke. Because if everybody's woke, then nobody is awake. Nobody is. Because you're just trying to be like the next person. What's the next woke thing? If everybody's woke, then nobody's awake. So this is why you got Jim Carrey out there, Leonardo DiCaprio talking about climate change with Barack Obama, Prince E teaming up with Oprah, and yeah, so on and so forth. So that's basically pretty much everything that I wanted to explain or expand upon in reference to Wokelighting and gaslighting. Because the last video was just the intro, the personification of what it really is. But it's more complex than one individual, obviously. So it wasn't really an attack or anything on Prince E. That's just an invitation, mostly. If you're real, then say some shit about this. Start talking about other woke, so-called woke topics, if you want to throw that term around. Like, if you're talking about Jim Carrey's woke, if you can call people woke, then that means that you're calling yourself woke. So if everybody else is asleep and you're woke, then you shouldn't have any problems with talking about any kind of other woke information that's out there. But a lot of these people are just going to avoid it because they don't want to be exposed. It's too vulnerable to talk about something that they might not know about. This is exactly why a lot of people in bigger channels in the flat earth community stick to the so-called science of flat earth and don't ever want to go into the human story. They only want to say, look, this is about the mainstream. This is about the science. And then once that goes through, then everything will be okay. Don't be so naive. If you're following them and you think that's just the way it is, and you're just going to be as naive as they are. And like I said, I'm not saying anybody's a shill or anything like that. I don't know these fucking people. I don't know them. I don't know them from Dookie on a stick. They're just some other fucking person out there that's talking shit no different than Prince E, Oprah, and David Wilcock and all these other assholes that are out there. No different. I don't know any of them. But I do know that there's a lot of information that is not being spoken about. And that's just as important as the shit that you are promoting constantly. In fact, if not more important than what you're talking about. So the human story is very much important. This woke shit that's being promoted through social media and the mainstream media and even flat earth and all this other stuff, it's just another psychological operation, truly. No different than Alex Jones taking all that conspiracy information, really just he's considering himself to be woke and then channeling it into Donald Trump. It's to kill it. Once they take and gather all that information and they water it all down, package it, put a little sticker on it, a stamp on it, they own it. What do you think is going to happen when they take Flat Earth and put a sticker on it, box it up and sell it through CNN, MSNBC, HBO, starts getting shat out of fucking Bill Maher's mouth, and other people start joking about heliocentrism? I can't believe we've believed these people for so long. Look at this. Look at this. When the image of the fake globes, the painted globes, appears on Stephen Colbert, when the fake NASA images start being joked about on Trevor Noah, just picture it and then feel it now before it happens, and then realize what actually is going to be portrayed when that happens, where they're going to push this, where they're going to usher that information. You don't need it to actually happen. You can foresee it on your own, because it's the same kind of alchemy that's been being used for so long. So when I see that, and I see these very intelligent so-called flat earthers who are, just like being so simple and basic about this, I got some questions. And if you want to call me the bad guy and victimize yourself, do whatever it is you got to do. Just realize that you're digging yourself deeper and deeper and deeper into your own fucking hole. And it's this shit ain't personal. This shit ain't got nothing to do with you. Anybody who's calling you shill and all this other stuff, and you taking this shit personal and not really looking into what people are talking about, that just makes you look even more and more suspect. It's not about that. This is about a bigger picture that seems to be consciously being avoided. Anyway, that's pretty much what I had for this video. Don't fall for this bullshit that's out there. It's not as simple as the earth is flat and that's it. And that's that. Like when you turn, it's no different than woke. Keep it flat. The earth is flat and that's that. You're already killing it. It's already dead. You've taken all that potential and just crashed it into a wall. And what good is it? Only to protect your own ego. Like even Mark said in Nathan's latest video, if you want to protect any part of your ego, just don't engage in the comment section. Don't respond to any of that stuff. They say, they're telling you this shit. They're saying what their style is. He might have been trying to say something else, but he actually just pretty much exposed his style. Any of the information that's brought up that's passed his way and he doesn't like it or it's too exposing, he'll just say, oh, well, I'm not going to respond to that. I'm going to act like it doesn't exist and I'm going to focus on what's real. what flat earth is really about, what the flat earth movement is really about. Because we're the representatives, right? Yeah, high five. We're the guys. We're the ones in charge. Yeah, we did it. I can't wait to the conference where everything will just be okay. It'll just be wonderful. Fast forward 5 years from now, possibly even less than that, when the mainstream takes your little stupid ass flat earth movement and slaps a UPC code on it. See what happens then. Feel what happens then right now. Now what? You're always eventually going to have to go back to the human story and how these manipulative programs are used to control people. So why not just go into that system now and expose it now? The earlier you do it, the less casualties you will have falling in to the people who buy into the UPC flat earth program. Because it's coming. For you who are truly understanding that the earth is not a globe, you have to realize that the UPC stamped flat earth version of reality is coming down the line. And these so-called flat earthers that are big channels, they're just hoping. They got the hands on the reins. They're just whoosh, let's go. Let's hurry up and get to the UPC flat earth and everything will be okay. If you don't have any questions about that, then I don't know what else to say. So that's pretty much what I have for this video. Thank you for joining me. And until next time, from all my relations, peace, love, and harmony.